let's move on to the biggest game of the weekend. I know two of you are itching to say something about the EPL. There was a whole lot of games played in the EPL, and I will start with the Man City Leeds game. Um, I mean, watching that particular game, you would notice that Man City struggled in that particular game. City had an opportunity. Leeds played Man City. Man City struggled throughout that particular game. However, a mistake, led to the goal of Semenyo, and that was it. If you look at that City team, do you think they have what it takes to go all the way? I mean, for the last 3, 4 games now, they've been struggling. And people will say the hallmark of a good team is winning games even when you are struggling. Solomon, what do you make of that particular game? City has been struggling, and Guardiola this season has been a bit pragmatic. Um, Haaland was not there. Semenyo showed up to score. However, they struggled throughout the game.
Now, watching the match against between Leeds and Man City opened my eyes to the realization that it is not just Arsenal that there's pressure on right now. There's also pressure on Man City to deliver. There's also pressure on Man City to deliver. I watched that match and I was stunned. Leeds had so many chances to go forward in the first half. They had so many chances to hit Man City, where he ought, and they failed to capitalize on on their chances. And in the second half, we saw Man City defend. In fact, they had to take out Turkey to bring on a Nathan Ake to come and defend against a lead side. And I reiterate, I keep saying that Leeds are just like Sunderland at home. Their home record is phenomenal. It takes a lot for you to go to Elland Road and get the result that is needed. And that's why I say, big ups to Manchester City. As Mr. Mayo has also said, you just need to find a way to win. I know that people are much more concerned about how you win, the type of football that is played, but at the end of it all, what was the result? What is the essence of having an 80% possession and you still did not win the match? What is the essence of having 35 shots 15 on target, and you still did not win the match? Do you know what I'm saying? You can go all about, you can talk about the style of play, but in the end, who won? That's the question that matters. That's the question that matters, and that is what top coaches understand. That at the end of it all, it is who won, and that's why if you see what's the name now, Pep Guardiola, he can now also adjust his style of play, bringing on defenders and taking out attackers, because that is what matters. You need to be able to, when you play a side like Leeds, a side like Sunderland, a side like Brentford, who you know that they have the quality to hurt you, especially in the final minutes of the match, you will do everything possible to ensure that that doesn't happen. And that's exactly what Man City did against Leeds. They went ahead in the end of the first half, just right at the end of the first half, and they were able to manage the ball. In fact, Brian Chelsea, Rodri, they had over 100 touches and 100 passes in that game. But that's to tell you that they were able to manage the game, and that's what matters at some point. Game management. It is not so much about going all out and all of those things. How well are you able to manage the game, especially when you are now ahead in terms of goal? How exactly do you manage the game? And again, as I said, big ups to Man City for being able to get the result that matters, especially without Erling Haaland up front.
Collins, I mean, I know you watched that particular game. What do you make of that particular game? For me, I think Man City is not the same as the flawless Man City we saw some couple of years ago. Guardiola seems to be struggling in terms of getting a perfect result. But as they will say, win a win, 3 points in the bag. Collins, what do you make of that particular game?
Um, Solomon has said what I said last week. I mentioned wait, I think I mentioned something last week about Pep Guardiola about how he's becoming Jose Mourinho overnight. Is leaving the Luis Enrique kind of coaching style is going to becoming the Jose Mourinho kind of coach. What do I mean? Jose Mourinho is the kind of coach that gets um results with whatever resource he has. Like Jose Mourinho can build a cannon from just toothbrush and sellotape, and he has a rocket launcher. You understand? That's kind of coach Jose Mourinho, and this is what Pep Guardiola has added to his coaching style this season. You understand? He started really roughly. You understand? He started really roughly. So this is, and that's impressive, right? He knows now. Pep Guardiola knows how to grind out results. You understand? He knows how to win one way or the other, and that's what I mentioned. That's something that's really impressive, right? And that's what matters. Like Solomon said, that's what matters. You understand? Because nothing else matters. Just 3 points that what and matters. You understand? And also Solomon also mentioned about something about Leeds creating chances. I mean, do you expect Leeds to sit down and wait for Man City to do all the attack? I mean, they will create their own chances too. They are at home. You understand? So they did what they were supposed to do, like, because they are a good side. They are a good side, not too good, but they are the side that they are just there to frustrate you. They just exist to frustrate you. You understand? So that's the kind of thing Leeds are, and that's what they did. I don't expect Leeds to sit down and be. I'm not even sure Pep Guardiola or anybody in Man City expected Leeds to sit down and wait for them to do all the attack. You understand? And that's what happened. Right? I feel like moving forward, both Man City, the two teams that are fighting for league right now, Man City and Arsenal, nothing is going to give it to them easy. They should know this and know this now. No team is going to give it to them easy, except useless teams like Spurs. That Spurs wasn't count. Tottenham don't count. You understand? No team is going to give it to them easy. You understand? He also asked the question if I see if Man City have what it takes to what to go to clear their remaining games. You understand? The only game I'm looking at right now that is in Man City way that will give them a tough time is Chelsea. You
Hmm.
understand? That's the only thing that can give Man City a tough time. In fact, I don't see Man City winning Chelsea. I want City to win the league, but I don't see Man City winning Chelsea. This Chelsea that I watched yesterday, I don't see Man City winning Chelsea. No matter how adaptive Pep has become, I feel like even that adaptation, that this current Pep, the way Pep plays right now, is what to make them not win. Understand?
Hmm.
Pep will have to revert to his former football, his old style, where he's not is rigid, stubborn, possessive football without changing anything. That's what he has to revert to if he has to beat Chelsea. You understand?
Okay.
So that's really difficult game I'm seeing in Man City's part. But besides that, yeah, they have what it takes to go through. You understand? Mind you, they have what it takes to go through. Don't mean the teams they are playing will not give them a hard time. You understand? You understand? Same applies to Arsenal. So they should bring their best every match day. You understand? I believe that they can do it. You understand? I mean, they are first and second for a reason. They didn't get there by mistake. You understand? So good luck to them.
Okay.
Mr. Mayo, Mr.
Yes.
Mayo,
Yes. Yes.
talking
Go
about
ahead.
Manchester, talking
Okay.
about Manchester City, I think that the reason why we have lost sight of Manchester City, I believe that quite a number of people have lost sight of Manchester City, is because there's a much more focus on Arsenal in the media, right? Manchester City are still in all four competitions. It is important that we say this.
That's true.
We can question their quality. We can say that they are not top, but you will not be a top team here and if you are in all four competitions. You cannot tell me that they are not a top side when they are in all four. They are the quality. If you want to say that maybe the quality has dropped, but look at it. Over the summer, they brought in Tijani Reinders, they brought in Rancheki, players that can bring when they bring their A game, they are top players, right? And of course, the stats for Rancheki obviously even proves it. Now, Jeremy Doku got injured, and you brought on an Antoine Semenyo, who was very good at Bournemouth, and now has even proved his worth more and more in this Man City side. A Phil Foden, who has been player of the season back, over time, is on the bench. And you want to question the quality of Man City side? No. Any team at this point in time, as Collins has said, you just have to play every match as though it's a final. You say that Leeds are supposed to, create chances. not as many as 14 chances against Man City, who are fighting for the had 14 shots. Leeds had 14 shots. Both of them 14, 14. You would not expect that against no matter how so I mean no matter how good the Leeds side are, you do not expect that they go all out like that against a Manchester City side who wants to win the Premier League title. Right? So it's just, in the end, again, it just boils down to that question. Did you win? That's all that matters. Thank you.
Well, I mean, moving forward, it seems United does not know how to lose again. They've been winning with reckless abandon, dispatching teams.
Oh,
They won yesterday. Yes, Lacrosse scored first, and you know everything turned around when it was shown a red card and Manchester United got a penalty. For me, I think the red card was needless. I feel the red card was controversial, but I don't know what you guys think. If not for the red card, I don't think Manchester United wins that particular game. Let me start with Collins. What do you make of that particular game? Manchester United winning and the red card, because I don't think that guy was the last man. There was another guy on the other end,
no.
and even the touch was outside. Cunha, decided to fall inside the 18, and there was a penalty and there was a red card, double jeopardy. I don't understand the reason why the referee did that. Collins, what do you make of that game?
Um, I remember my prediction last week. My prediction was Crystal Palace to win, and Lacrosse, this Lacrosse guy, sold me a dream, and he ended up taking the dream away from me. You understand? Because um, any red card check, any red card incident that requires a VAR check is always controversial. With my experience watching the Premier League, and as far as the ref is not coming straight at you and showing you the direct red card and asking you to get out of the pitch, any red card incident that requires a VAR check, you understand, especially one that wants to be lengthy, you understand, is always controversial because people the team the receiving end is always like this is unfair, and the people that they are the people that are benefiting are maybe yes you deserve it, you understand. There is always controversy because the weight when the VAR is checking, the tension, I mean the anxiety and everything is not for you to make up conclusions. Even if let's say even if you go to a viewing center, you understand, different people have different opinions. The same tackle you are watching, where it's obvious that maybe this guy touched this guy and kick this guy leg. Person wey dey sit down here go dey tell you say na different thing, but we are watching the same thing. You understand? That's the controversy. That's the control. That you see. So anything that requires a VAR check, you understand, is always cool. So I was not even surprised when they gave the guy red card and penalty. I said, wow. As far as I saw VAR check, you understand? So was it deserved? No. I mean, this is what I thought. No, that was not a red card. That was not a red card. But it happened. It happened. I just had to move on. I was hoping that after the red card, that maybe Crystal Palace will not be Chelsea. They will not be like Chelsea. They will not be like yes, they will not be like Chelsea. But I mean, they are London clubs. They are brothers, so they will be like Chelsea, and they did like Chelsea, and they ended up losing the game. And they ended up losing the game. You understand? If to say maybe when Fernandez scored the penalty, they at least they held on and everything, but they have to be like Chelsea completely. I expect them to be like Chelsea, just 50%. But they had to be like Chelsea completely by losing the game, and that was terrible. That was annoying, right? Because I don't need Manchester United to keep moving forward. You understand? I don't need Manchester United to keep moving forward. I still need them to be within reachable distance. So at least once I win like 2 games, I can still hit them. But right now it's looking impossible. Now I have to battle against Brentford and Fulham and people I don't even understand. I'm no longer battling against the big dogs. You understand? And that's annoying. So it was annoying, right? It was annoying, but I won't blame them. It was a red card. It was a red card and everything. But do I think the red card was deserved? No, I don't think the red card was deserved. I don't think the decision was right. But it's what it is, right? So that's it.
Solomon, what do you make of this particular game? I mean, I for one, I
Oh,
felt the red card, scattered the game. If not for the red card, um,
of course,
United would not win. But however, 7 games, 6 win, 1 draw.
of course. At most, Manchester United would have probably scraped a draw were it not for the red card. And The reason why we're even having this conversation, Mr. Maiwa, we have said it all the time that Manchester United, you know, especially after even before the game against West Ham, the way they won against Fulham was questionable, right? The way they won against Fulham was questionable. Then they came to West Ham and they had a 1-0 draw with a Benjamin Sesko late into the match into the match, right? And now they needed that red card to be able to go all out and win against Crystal Palace side, who also are obviously struggling this season under Oliver Glasner. They started very well. I mean, scoring about 4 minutes into the match with the same man, Lacroix, being the one to score the goal, and then also ended up being the one receiving the red card. And as we have already agreed, it is obviously not a red card. Maybe a yellow card if it is that bad, but it is definitely not a red card. And I think that a team that is able to, control the midfield, a team that is able to control the midfield and have a solid defensive lineup will defeat this Manchester United side. I think that Manchester United will drop points into this running. I think that Manchester United will drop points. And it's because of the fact that if you check the Premier League table, the way teams are stacked against one another right now, there's so much pressure. It is not just for the what's it called now? It is not just for the title. It is also for the European places, right? Fulham, Brentford, Everton, they're all trying to get into Europa League. Liverpool, Man City, Liverpool, Man U, Chelsea, Aston Villa, they are all trying to cement their places in the top four as well. So there's a whole lot of pressure, and the points are just 3 points, 3 points, 3 points gap. In fact, I think Fulham and Everton, they are like 40 points each, right? So you see that there's so much pressure, and eventually it will tell. Eventually it will tell. With 9 more matches to go, there's so much to look forward to.
Well, I mean, while we are still on that, it seems Sky has delivered so far. Do you
Yes,
think do you think they should permanently they should give him the permanent job as permanent manager? He has played 7 games. He has won 6, drew 1. He has taken Manchester United from a point of despair to a point of confidence. Another thing, and this goes to Collins. Do you think there is a need to look at PGM well, because every week there is always a mistake from the referee that affects the game adversely? I mean, in as much as I'm happy Manchester United won, I mean, if you look at it from an unbiased point of view, I mean, Crystal Palace shouldn't have lost that game. That red card was never a red card. There were questionable calls over the weekend. Even the goal of what's it called now? The goal of Timber last week. Somebody pushed what's his name now? The guy from France, Miranda Kolumwani, pushed Saliba, and the goal was disallowed. Timber did the same thing, and the goal was allowed. So, what do you make of this inconsistency in PGMOL and VAR and ref calls? In games across Europe, especially in the EPL, because this has a bearing on points and on result. Collins.
Um, I feel like if you are lucky, it favors you, you collect it, and if you are unlucky, it doesn't favor you, you cry and sleep. Because that is not going to change because there is not going to be this is automated, this is technology, this is not it's not going to be 100%. You're not going to get 100%. You understand? Let's say we are looking at 60% efficiency and we are operating at 60% efficiency. Now, expecting a 60% efficiency to give you the desired result every time is unfair. You understand? So calls, referee calls, and VAR mistakes, and everything. I've just accepted it that that's life. There's no bettering it. There's no making it better. You understand? Same call you call today is the same call you call tomorrow as a different thing, and that's nobody's fault unless there's nothing you can that can be done against that. You understand? The only thing that can be done is we can make it a little bit more accurate, right? Can make these calls a little bit more accurate, right? When VAR started out, I was strongly against VAR. I was strongly against VAR because I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Because I think at that point it was not people just like that. was not favoring Chelsea like that. So I was strongly against it. But before you know, BL started favoring us. Before you know, they for penalty, just give us penalty. I say, yeah, so yeah, the fair person like this. I said, okay, maybe let's be our thing. I can't think. So I started supporting BL. But now I've seen that these decisions can go either way. You understand? The referee will call something. You understand? I feel like they should allow they should allow viewers, we that we are viewing it, to vote. There should be a section where it's not just up to the referee and BL. They should give us a section where we have vote. See, una dey watch now. We have no na vote. Why the highest number of votes will be the decision that stands. I feel like that's perfect. You understand? Because it's no longer be up to the ref and BL again. It's not be up to us because in as much as there are fans of these things watching, there are also neutral fans watching, and they vote for what they saw. You understand? So I feel like there's honesty there. You understand? Nobody can lie. You understand? Why neutral fans be trying to use numbers to make the decision sway in their favor? The neutral fans will be there to even things out, and at the end the truth will come out. You
Yeah.
understand? So
That-
thank God I'm not FIFA president now. It's not for implement.
yeah. So Solomon, what do you make?
Yeah.
Carrick 7 games, 6 win, 1 draw.
So,
Then the ridiculous VAR, inconsistencies.
there's no doubt, obviously, that Michael Carrick has, restored some level of confidence and hope in the Manchester United fans. I mean, I see them celebrating their wins, and of course, rightly so, right? They are now third, right? They were middle of the table before, but now they are third, on the league table. They've surpassed Villa by goals, and that's a beautiful thing. So it only makes sense that yes, his contract be extended. It is not now. If we are saying, oh, it's a new manager bounce, he has already played 7 games. How much more do you want him to prove himself? He has already played 7 games. However, again, I think that they should just let the league, the season, play out first. Let the season play out. I believe that once the season plays out, the directors can now decide what they want to do at the end of the season. But for now, let them just focus on winning the next match, qualify for the UEFA Champions League as it stands, right? Qualify for the UEFA Champions League, and then at the end of the season, we can now talk about Michael Carrick, either extending his contract or maybe getting a coach that can, continue what he has started. Now, the inconsistencies with Pigmore is annoying. Just last week, we saw a Bernardo Silva yellow card, right? And 1 or 2 minutes after, hit Dan Bond without even going for the ball. He did not even go for the ball at all. In the match of Newcastle Everton, we saw that same Dambon carry what's it called? He carried an Everton player, I think Dewsbury, out of the pitch. The same thing Martinelli did to what's it now? This the two player for Liverpool, Conor Bradley. He did that and they wanted to cut off his head. They came for him. He even got I think he got a yellow card. Yes, he got a yellow card for lifting what's it called for lifting Bradley off the pitch. The same thing that Tambon did against Everton, right? Same thing with Arsenal Chelsea yesterday. The inconsistencies in the refereeing, it calls for concern, right? And when you note these things, fans will tell you, or rival fans will tell you, oh, you people have so much excuse. It's always excuse and all of those things. But it is only right that every fan should demand for the right thing to be done. As Colin says, if he favors you now, you'll be happy. But when he does not favor you, all else then is going to be left. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is just normal, or it is just right for every fan to call out the Pigmore and ask that they do the right thing, because it takes only one refereeing decision to make or mar a match, and then you know what, it can go either ways. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to the biggest one over the weekend. I know during the big match preview, two of you went into it, and there was a whole lot of chaos in terms of who's going to take it, who's going to take it. At the end of the day, um, Arsenal ended up winning. None of their strikers scored. Everybody that scored, defenders were the ones that scored. Chelsea did not score any goal in that particular game. Arsenal scored all the goals. Let me start with Collins, because I know Collins, your face was swollen. I know you didn't sleep well. What do you make of that particular game, Collins?
Okay, before I start, you see, showing me today 5 minutes. I feel like 5 minutes is too small to to discuss whatever I want to discuss. Like now it's 4 minutes. Okay, okay. I mean, I said it. I said it before the game. I said it before the game that Arsenal are this, Arsenal are that, and that everything I said was what happened because Arsenal attackers are no those guys are very boring, like really boring. Arsenal attackers are really boring. And as for what the Arsenal took their goal tallies this season, their goal from corners tallies this is 16. They have 16 goals from corners this season now, which is very. I don't even know what to make of that. I don't make of that. The first half the first half. I don't understand what we're doing. We started really slow, all right. Robert Sanchez was, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing with the ball, just giving away the ball anyhow. You understand? And I have to commend Arsenal for that because the way Arsenal pressed from that first half was magnificent. Like it was amazing. Like the way they pressed, like almost all their press were successful. You understand? They were coming four. They were throwing four at us. You understand? And when we try to go long, there is their midfield, there can rise midfield to intercept the ball or Gabriel or this kind of things. Whenever we try to go long, they're intercepting it. You understand? The only person that managed to hold them up it was Joao Pedro. He managed to hold the ball with his good company. You understand? And I was like, the first half was really irritating because Arsenal had the opportunity to like at least give us go up 3-0 in that first half, and they didn't.
Yes,
You understand? So
yes.
and they ended up scoring through corner kick, and which is obvious. You understand? It was expected. The corner and everything. It was not. You understand? So then Chelsea equalized. We equalized 1-1 with James. I remember saying the player that can hurt them is who? With James, and he did. You understand? It's called the corner. That was the first half. Now the second half. I feel like from what I saw in the first, second half, we should have ended that game. We should have finished up that game from what I saw in the second half. We should have won that game. You understand? Especially how we started. These guys were clueless. You understand? We're no longer playing shaky from the back again. We now have the structure. You understand? We are going straight from we are going from um um Sanchez to Chaluba, then from Chaluba to Enzo before. Now we didn't go from Sanchez to we didn't go there. We now went from Sanchez to James, you understand? We went wide, you understand? This guy because Arsenal were attacking our middle. Now we now went wide, we stretched them out. And this gave Arsenal a little problem. We're not playing successfully out of the back, you understand? We saw the holes in their midfield. We saw the holes in them and we exploited it. You understand? Everything was working well, you understand? But we're not finishing our chances. I don't understand Palmer. I don't just understand Palmer. Palmer, why didn't Palmer come to play yesterday? What was going on? Palmer was miskicking. Palmer was missing chances. Palmer was doing everything wrong. What is wrong with Palmer?
What chances did he create?
Everything. What?
Bar the Enzo shot, what chances were created in the match? The second half, you said Chelsea should
No,
have won. But the second half, that I said Chelsea should have won. Bar the Enzo shot, and the Caicedo shot that went over the bar. What other chance did Chelsea create in the second half?
are you serious? There's a Joao Pedro chap. There was Joao Pedro, but there was a Joao Pedro sharp turn. A Joao Pedro sharp turn that he missed. He skied it over the bar, and there was with James crosses. We just put the ball
He's
in the
got it
box
over the bar.
twice.
He's got it over
Yeah,
the
he
bar.
did.
That's an offside, by the way, but go on.
Well, there's a chance. You could have put it down. Could have put it down. Once it goes down, it will be a different story by now.
Raya saved, that Raya punched out. What other chances made you believe that Chelsea would have won that? Again, we said this thing in the preview. Having possession of the ball is not the same as creating chances or trying to score. They are two different things entirely, right? You did mention that Arsenal had the chance to out Chelsea in the first half, especially with the way we pressed. In fact, it was annoying that we did not capitalize on those mistakes, especially from Sanchez, right? It was annoying that we did not capitalize on those mistakes. But what made you think exactly that Chelsea should have won that match in the second half with what we saw yesterday? What chances did Chelsea create?
Okay,
Again,
okay. Let me answer
the
that.
three goals that were scored, the three goals that were scored were all from Arsenal. Chelsea did not score any goal. This is the same way Wolves did against Arsenal in the first leg, and people came all out and said, "Oh, Arsenal are terrible," and all of those things. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Arsenal strikers are boring, or Arsenal attackers are boring. Which of your attacker, or how many of your attackers yesterday were interesting on the ball? How many of them were exciting on the ball? Right? Again, You now brought on Elian Delap of all players. That guy should go. You are not even worth talking. See, this
Okay.
is no longer a
Um.
rivalry. You should not even be having this conversation. You just need to take the
All right.
L and bounce. It's no longer a rivalry. It is only a rivalry if there is head to head.
No,
If the
but
victory is head to head. Eh?
Collins, but Collins, I mean, in the last 10 games, you've only drawn three and lost seven. What do you make of that performance? And also, Collins, the discipline in your team is very terrible. Another red card again yesterday. How does this continue to happen week in, week out? Last week it was Fofana, this week it was Neto. What's going on with Chelsea's indiscipline record?
I think they lose track of the fact that they have red card. Sorry, they have yeah, because
Yeah.
the initial yellow card, I didn't know how it came about. Honestly, I was watching the game, right. I knew he had yellow card, but I didn't know how it came about because when you're watching the game, you're just invested in the whole thing. And when I saw the second yellow card and I saw red, I was like, I was not the only one. That just was. Then we
Yeah.
remembered when he got the first yellow card because I feel like we as fans, we are losing track of these cards, you understand? And if the players too are losing track of the cards, there's problem because if it starts from knowing it starts from self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is the key to not getting another yellow card. Self-awareness is the key to not even having a yellow card at all. Like these players don't have self-awareness. You understand? They lose themselves. The first yellow card was first of all first yellow card was C. The second was him try Martinelli that just came on. It's not that Martinelli is not faster than Neto in any sense, but because he just came on, he had more strength, more pace. You understand? Neto has been playing since, so I will not blame. I will not even blame this one. Neto, even if Neto had the pace, but Neto didn't have the defensive awareness to collect that ball without getting the card. Am I making sense here? Neto had the pace, but Neto is not a defender. Neto is not. He doesn't have the defensive skills to do that. That's why I collected that yellow card. That was annoying. You understand? But the first yellow card that was very silly. Was I don't understand. So I feel like our players don't have they don't have self awareness. They don't know how to calculate. You understand? They're indisciplined. This is indiscipline's finance boss. I've not seen a thing like this. Like red card is sure every day in every game more than goals. The red card is more sure than goals. You are certain the red card is going to happen more than you are sure a goal is going to be scored. That's Elisha. Under Liam we score goals and now not be used. But even at that, you understand what I'm trying to make. Now I'm going back to I've answered that question now. I'm going back to Solomon because Solomon mentioned something. Solomon mentioned something that possession is different from. I'm very well aware of that because in the first half, what we had was baseless possession. And I understand why we had because the ball was just being played between Chaluba, um, Enzo Fernandez, with James, just the entire back line with Sanchez, you understand? And that was the possession that Solomon is talking about. That possession is different. I understand these things, you understand? And when they say that when your defender turns ball you see that second half bar, that second half bar. I feel like Liam tried something. Liam is maybe till tomorrow I'm still going to tell you this man is very smart, you understand? Liam tried something in that second half. You know what he tried? He wanted to play from the back because once you play from the back, you give Arsenal more time. You give Arsenal more time. You give Arsenal more time to think. You understand? But once you boot the ball, you are giving Arsenal less time to hurt you. But once you try to play from the back, you give Arsenal more time to think. Um, what's his name? Liam knows how clueless Arsenal attackers are. No offense to Arsenal attackers, but Liam knows how boring they are. You understand? That's why he tried the approach he did in the first half. You understand? He played everything out from the back, except when there's no longer with them. Sanchez budges the ball. You understand? So he did that because he wanted to give Arsenal more time to think. He wanted to give them more time to act. You understand? That's why whenever Arsenal won the ball from us, even whenever we make mistake, what did they do with it? You understand? They either play nonsense or they give us the ball back. You understand? Because Liam knows this. That's why he did what he did. He was like, if like that, he didn't call them for once and say, no, now you guys should stop playing from the back. He still stop with that. You understand? We were playing the ball around because we don't need Arsenal. We don't need Arsenal to have more people. Once you give Arsenal more of the ball, once you give us, especially that early, considering going down 2-0, 3-0, that's what will happen. We want to give Arsenal more of the ball in that first half. I'm not even joking because our defense don't have what it takes to stop a team that has 60% possession, 70% possession. That's why I said if Man City wants to beat Chelsea, they will go back to their former football. That's what I said. Chelsea doesn't have what it takes to stop a team that is keeping 70% of the ball, 80% of the ball. That is why Liam did what he did. People are seeing it as baseless. Me, I'm seeing another thing. We are passing the ball around. Yes, we will lose the ball at the end, but it's for a reason. We don't want to give Arsenal a chance. We don't want to give Arsenal time to hold the ball and do. That's why Arsenal have to do one or two fast breaks or counter attacks in the first half. And that was understandable. You understand? It has that advantages and has that disadvantage. And disadvantage is that we were not playing out of the back well. Sanchez was making mistakes. You understand? And whenever we hold the ball, we are losing the ball anyhow. We are losing the ball anyhow. Palmer was losing the ball. Everybody was losing. The only people that were not losing the ball were Enzo and Joao Pedro. Everybody else were losing the ball. And I
Yeah,
feel like this virus also affected Arsenal because as my friend Arsenal started dashing us the ball. So I say, you know what's happening? Keep ball. Nobody wants to keep the ball. You understand? So that was what happened in the first half. Now what happened in the second half? Imagine someone is telling me that we only created one chance in the second half before they scored their goal. As how? Let me mention the chances we created in the second half before they scored their goal. Enzo shot. Have you forgotten Joao Pedro head that Araya saved?
The goals
Have
that
you
happened,
forgotten Joao Pedro?
the first two goals were in the first half. The first two goals were in the first half. I said that prior to that goal, which chance did you create? One. Then the second half, what chances did you create that made you think that Chelsea could have won that match?
First half, there was no. The first half was about understanding. The first half was about what slowing down Arsenal. Let me just tell you what that first half was all about. The first half was about slowing down Arsenal because like I said, Liam understood that we have to slow Arsenal down. If you don't slow Arsenal down, they are going to hurt you. 3-0 at least is what you're going to pack, right? So that's what Liam did in the first half. So I was not expecting. So when I was not seeing the chances in the first half, I was calm. You know, I was really calm, especially after his James equalized. You understand? After in cap, he said, "Let me take it for myself to help with James." I don't know whether me and James are brother or something. So that first half I was not expecting, but the second half, before your fluke goal from the corner kick, right? The chances we created, the chances we created. Come on. Do you want me to start stating each and every chance because I can't.
I asked a question. He said we scored a fluke goal from the corner, right? They did not score. Bear in mind that Chelsea did not score, but he said Arsenal
Actually, we
scored
did.
it. Wait now.
Actually,
He
we
said
did. But
Arsenal, Arsenal
we're
scored
just talking about VAR and their
Arsenal
inconsistency.
scored a
VAR
fluke
removed
goal.
our goal. We scored, but VAR removed our goal.
Which goal did you score that was right?
hold
What
on,
do you mean that was right? What
hold
do you
on.
mean?
Was,
I
was the
mean,
goal
we're just talking about.
was it a wrong call? Was it a wrong call? Was
Yeah,
it
it
a
was a
wrong
wrong call. I mean, we're just talking about VAR and how they remove wrong calls from.
call?
I mean, if it's
What
Hold
was the
applied
on,
to
call?
other teams, it should apply to us.
hold on,
If it's
Collins.
Which
applied,
was the wrong
Hold
call?
on,
What was
hold
the
on.
wrong call? Which call
Oh,
did you score that was the wrong call?
hold on, Collins. Which of the goals are you referring to? Is it the one that Leon Delap scored? The first person that touched that ball
exactly.
was offside.
Joao
The first
Pedro
person
was
was
offside.
João
I
Pedro
mean,
was offside.
I mean, remember,
It was
come on,
clear.
you guys
It was
remember,
clear.
when we're talking about VAR and how
If you
what
are
you are saying is
talking,
different from what I'm saying.
Joao Pedro. Which
hold
goal
on.
did you
If you
score
are if you
now?
are talking if
Which
you are talking
goal did you
hold on,
score?
If hold on, if you are talking about the Timber goal, yes, I will agree with you. I think that was a foul, and that should have been chopped off. I will agree with you that there was
Mr.
a
Exactly,
push.
Mayowa, Mr. Mayowa,
exactly,
Mr. Mayowa,
Yeah.
even that Timber goal, if you look at the replay, it was not Timber, it was Saliba. it was Saliba that had his hands on Sanchez, right? But he was wise enough to not hold on to Sanchez as the ball was coming in. He had a Chelsea defender right in front of him, and then he had his hand. What's the replay now? He had his hand out, holding on to Sanchez, and then as the ball was coming, he removed his hand, allowing Sanchez the chance to get back to his goal.
No, it doesn't. As long as it doesn't matter whether he hold on to him or not.
It was what?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you hold on. You said he did because he didn't hold on to him. The call was right, right?
Did Chalobah not commit a foul on Gyökeres? Was it given?
Come again.
Did Chalobah not commit a foul on Gyökeres? Was it given?
That wasn't a foul. Chalobah touched the ball. What are you saying? Chalobah touched the ball. Chalobah touched the ball.
The replays.
That wasn't a foul. That wasn't a foul in any way. That wasn't a foul. Should I tell you?
Did not kick the ball. Chalobah did not kick the ball. It was Gyökeres
who touched the ball. He touched the ball. He touched the ball.
He touched Gyökeres.
He clearly touched the ball. No. Gyökeres is the flopper. He didn't touch the ball. Gyökeres is the flopper. Chalobah clearly touched the ball.
I agree that the VAR, the refereeing decisions were inconsistent, right? The refereeing decisions were inconsistent. There's no doubt about that. But I'm saying that I said it. I said that to think that Chelsea had better chances in the second half to eat us or to win the game, this is not true.
It's very true, very obvious.
Eze had a chance.
It was very obvious.
Eze had a chance to win that match. The same goal is
just one chance. Just one chance. Let me mention how many chances we had in the second half.
How many chances? Oh yeah, mention the chance that could hurt us in that.
Yeah, I wanted to do it now. Don't worry. Come back, the chance to go wrong. Yeah, let me start. Let me tell you, the Palmer had more than 2 missed kicks in that second half. Palmer, yeah, missed kicks. Like he wanted to maybe kick the ball, or he wanted then he ended up keep kicking air, and the ball falls from that player.
Whose fault? Whose fault?
Player's fault. Now,
I'm not saying
you can't count that as a
chance. I'm not counting as I'm just saying.
How was that?
I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere. You know how the second half started, right? We started the second half very strong. You guys, you don't even know what we were because we found the holes in the midfield and that was over. You understand? So, we just put the ball in the box. He put the ball in the box. It Joao Pedro headed. It came off Joao Pedro's head, and Palmer was supposed to tap it in. He missed it. Do you remember that?
Nobody touched the ball. Okay, yeah.
Joao Pedro did. That was the chance. And Palmer was the ball.
But Palmer was nowhere near at the end of the field.
That was the chance. I mean, should I take it back to the definition of the chance? That was a clear chance.
He was off target. He was never anywhere near Raya. But go on.
What do you mean off target? You said I should mention the chance. I'm mentioning the chance. I said off target.
Was he anywhere near Raya?
Come on. Is Raya?
If you are going to count,
that was a chance. It was very close to Raya.
Now, would you have counted that as a ball on target?
Oh, you want to count on targets? You want to talk about on targets, right?
Yes, on target.
Talk about on targets. All right. There was Enzo's shot. There was Joao Pedro's header that was saved by Raya.
I said,
you remember that?
I just said that. Was he even Joao Pedro or Mamadou Sarr that nodded the ball? Second, he was Pedro. He was Pedro when he started the Mamadou.
Sarr was in the first half. It wasn't on target.
The second half.
Okay, that was saved by Raya.
Yes.
It doesn't matter as long as the Chelsea player that headed the ball. You are talking of chance. Even if it's our coach that headed it, it doesn't matter. It was a chance, right? It was a chance, right? Very good. Now.
Okay, so let's get Solomon in here. Solomon, I mean, Collins has said a whole lot. What do you make of the performance of your team? You are back 5 points now. Because I know we can have this argument for the next 1 hour. But so that we don't take a whole lot of time, what do you make of your own performance? And you are 5 points ahead of Man City now. Do you think you still have it in you to be able to do it? And were you that impressed in that with that performance? You remember that Sanchez, is it Sanchez now or Raya now? Okay, Raya saved a point for Arsenal. That last minute save, won that particular game for you. What do you make of that particular chance?
Mr. Mayowa, even the players themselves were not impressed by their performance. And it was obvious at the end of the match the way they reacted and all of those things. But here's the thing, right? We have questioned the mentality of Arsenal for years, right? We have questioned the mentality of Arsenal players for years. We have said that do they have what it takes to go all the way to win matches and eventually clinch the trophy? And now they are beginning to show you that this is exactly what is expected. There were times when I think it was Jose Mourinho. By the time he comes to the second half of the season, you just keep saying 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Nobody questions that because at the end of the day, the question is again. I said all that matters is that did you win? Let me just give you an aside. For instance, for people who do not watch football, for people who do not watch football, for especially for women, when you talk to them, they say, you're an Arsenal fan. Arsenal never carries any trophy. Now, they do not know anything about football, right? They do not know anything about football, but they know that narrative that Arsenal never wins and Arsenal never wins any trophy, right? And now you think that they are interested in watching the football. The moment you come home and they ask you who won, that is all that matters. Nobody's asking you who played more. Nobody's asking you. Do you understand? Was I impressed? Not entirely, not entirely, because that first half, Colin to obviously agree. That first half, we ought to have won that game effortlessly in the first half, and what we would have done in the second half was to manage the game. But big ups to the players because eventually, you know, Gabriel was brilliant enough to hold on to Pedro offside. If you watch the replay, especially that second goal that Liam Delap scored, Gabriel immediately stepped in front and then allowed what's it called now, Joao Pedro to be offside. Does Arsenal have what it takes to go all the way? Absolutely, absolutely. And you realize that at every time when we drop points, when we come back, it's always beautiful to see. So you might question the mentality of the team, but have they shown enough, have they proven it enough that they can go all the way? Yes, because now you drew against a Wolves side that are the worst team in the league, right? Then you won against Tottenham easily by a landslide. Then you came again, and irrespective of whatever, you were able to get the points that matter against Chelsea. Bear in mind that this Chelsea team has not lost any match under Liam Rosenau except Mikel Arteta. That is a Chelsea side that you were coming up against. So it was always going to be a tough match. It was not going to be a walk in the park. It was always going to be a tough match. But did we do what was needed to get the win? Yes, we did. And you might want to talk about the fact that the goals came from set pieces. Brother, Liverpool scored 4 goals from set pieces the day before.
Well, that's true.
And people were calling them set piece kings.
True.
People they said set piece kings. The same way they said Arsenal has been ruining the beautiful game of football, calling Arsenal boring, saying Arsenal has been scoring from set pieces. Mind you, Arsenal are second in open play goals, only behind Man City. We have scored 90 or even over 90 goals in this season. Highest goal scoring team in the league, right? 16 from corners or 16 from set pieces. That's my point. 16 from 90. I think we have like 5 or 6 own goals, right? The rest, prior to the Chelsea match, we pitched 4 past Tottenham, all open play goals. All of
True.
them open play
True.
goals.
True.
So you want to question this Arsenal team, but they've shown you much more than enough evidence that they can go all the way. Again, 22-23 season, we played beautiful football. 23-24 season, beautiful football. 24-25 season, beautiful football. He led us nowhere. In fact, at this stage of the competition, bar last season, we were probably out in all competitions. On all fronts, we were out. No trophy again to compete for. No trophy to compete for. But look at us. We are right on track to win the Premier League, right on track, in the finals of the EFL Cup. But in the FA Cup, we will obviously beat Mansfield Town to qualify for the quarterfinals. That's too easy, right? And now we are also in the Champions League, and people have come out to say that we have a lucky draw or we have it easy. All the best to them. But this Arsenal team, question their mentality, question their desire, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that they've shown you over time that they can do all that it takes to win matches when they need to and to go all the way to clinch the trophy. Thank you.
Well, you've said, two of you have said the whole lot. If you said we should continue arguing about it, the back and forth will probably live here in the next 3 hours. But I think it's been amazing getting your views and the rest of that. Thank you guys for joining in. For the viewers listening in, please comment, like, turn on your notification button so that I don't get to miss this kind of banter. We'll see you on the next episode of the locker room. Thank you for coming up, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.